Hello and welcome back to the Digi-Bros Podcast. It's David here with Eric. Sorry it's been like 1,000 years. We kind of feel like Avatar Aang being gone for so long, but happy to say that we're back.
Happy New Year as well.
Happy New Year. I think we're going to start today with
I think we should just talk about where we've been.
yeah, exactly.
So I was looking back. The last episode we recorded was on Halloween, and then I posted it probably November 2nd or 3rd. So during October, November, and December, we were shooting a short film for Austin, who was on the podcast, like episode 5 or something. But with that, we spent every time we hung out was shooting stuff for that film, and then sometimes we do a few little just fun like YouTube videos and stuff, like the light trail videos and whatnot, and a little bit of photo shoots. But so I think it was mid-October to about mid-December, it was just all spent on this film.
Yeah.
And then we actually haven't even hung out since end of November, because you've been busy, I've been busy, and then you've been working, I started working, and then I've been with family and stuff, and then but we are back, so that's what matters. But
Yes.
I think we can talk a little bit about that experience of shooting the short film.
Definitely.
So the first thing we did was we had Austin on the podcast back in September, and then I think either before or the after of the show, he'd talked to us about the idea, because he had approached me like a month prior about I want to do a film. He's like, and I think David could help. I'm like, yeah, it'd be good. We have 2 people, more ideas, more camera angles and everything. After that, we just started planning, made a little Google Doc sheet. We all just added ideas on there, song suggestions, shot ideas, script. And then mid-October, we went out to a local park. You filmed the intro and the outro clips with your drone.
Yes, sir.
Which we were supposed to do during golden hour, but
I know, because I was coming to your place from work, and then I was like, oh man, I didn't realize that I don't know why I didn't think of it sooner, but yeah, that day traffic was just horrible because it was after work traffic.
Oh, yeah.
And then I ended up getting there pretty much, the sun was darn near all gone. Yeah. I get there, I parked, and then I got the drone set up, and by that time the sun was gone.
Yeah. Luckily, the park had lights. I mean, only one of them worked, so it's kind of...
Yeah.
But it was kind of cool. It had like an eerie kind of feel, I felt like.
Yeah, I would think it had it was like a dramatic sort of lighting with the shadows and everything, how that worked. So I think overall it ended up being okay for what we needed.
Yeah, and it wasn't what we planned for, but we made do with it. And I say the only one thing about that kind of sucked, it was just, since it was pretty much pitch black, it was just kind of grainy, like the shots.
Yeah.
But we made do with that, and we learned from that. But
Yes,
after that, we did the podcast on Halloween, and then right after we did the running and agility portion, where he was doing footwork, band work, and then we went to the volleyball courts, and he also did some footwork there as well.
Yeah.
And that's when you first used the gimbal. If you want to talk a little bit about using a gimbal.
Yeah, so that's the DJI Ronin SC. It's their smaller version of their gimbal line, I believe. And I was looking at getting a gimbal for a while, and I was kind of on the fence about it. And then when we decided we were going to do this film, I was like, okay, yeah, it probably would make sense to get it so we can have some smooth, cinematic shots, just because I didn't want there to be a whole lot of shakiness to it. So I bought it, and it came pretty quick, so shout out to DJI. You guys rock. It came quick. I unboxed it. I had never used a gimbal before, and so the only thing negative thing I would say is it was a little bit tricky to set it up to get it balanced, because it has to be perfect for the motors to work properly and for you to get the smoothest shot possible. And I did research, and I looked at YouTube videos, doing tutorials of how to set it up, and so I followed a lot of those, and that helped a lot. But even then, it's a little bit different for each camera, also depending on what body you have for your camera, but also the lens too, because someone might have like a really long lens, and sometimes those tend to be heavier. And then if you have a shorter lens, it could be lighter, and the weight gets distributed differently, whether it's front heavy or back heavy or whatever. And so people are gonna be moving the weights that balance it out. They're gonna be moving those differently, and they're gonna have those in different areas than what I might have for my setup. So that was a bit of a learning curve, and I definitely still need to work on getting that balanced out perfectly. But once I did get it balanced, it turned out really good. Just super smooth. It's butter smooth footage. If you've seen our short film, you know what we're talking about, especially when it comes to the those training portions of the video. And yeah, it was phenomenal.
Yeah, and I just remember it was just kind of funny because just seeing like your first time trying to stabilize and how long it took.
Yeah.
But luckily we had a lot of light. We went out pretty early, so we weren't really stressing about that. But we spent like 4 hours that day just shooting him, running around, doing footwork and stuff. Met some interesting people after all of that. If you wanted to talk about it, we can.
We met. I'll keep it short, but I don't want to give him a shout out. Yeah. He does have a YouTube channel, but it is a sword training business / gym exercise thing. And essentially it's a guy that makes swords out of metal, and some of them are wood, and they're like heavy, like pretty darn heavy. He has like a 30-pound one, I think, and then like 15, like 20, 10-pound, whatever. And you exercise with these swords. And I guess it's based off of like anime stuff. So if you're really into anime, this is for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like the movements and stuff. Oh, yeah. And it's really like repetitive. Like one of them is similar to if you were doing like slam balls or even just like squats, and the guy's like, okay, now we're gonna do 100 slashes with the sword.
Yeah, you tried getting
so it's like 100 just sword slashes. It wasn't my cup of tea. Yeah, he was really but I think it did make me a better sword fighter. Interesting though, an interesting concept, but I didn't see necessarily how that would work out, but I can at least give him respect for trying that, and also because I had never seen that, so that's also props to that was like, okay, like you go.
I thought it was funny because we're just in the middle of like going from one location to the next, and then he's just like, all right, try this out, and then he's like, he gives you another sword. All right, here, let's do this real quick. And you got Austin over there, and we're just like, dude, we're trying to shoot, like, come on.
He was like, oh, just try this. Oh, okay, but yeah, no, that was interesting. You'd meet all sorts of interesting and cool people when you're
just having
filming.
A camera on you, honestly.
Yeah, having a camera, definitely.
So then after that day, fast forward, I think it was like a week or so, we did the weights part in actually our garage. And with that, we didn't use any gimbal or anything. We just kind of wanted like the shaky like movement that you would see in like a Nike commercial, for example. And we purposefully made the scene pretty dark, where it was a bit of backlighting from the little windows in the garage door. Just to give it like that moody, like, I don't know, it gets like a moody feel, but it was just kind of like to show that he was like working hard, and it's kind of like, I feel like it's just a little like filmmaker's like tactic that you kind of see in any type of training video. And then with that, we used like 3 or 4 different songs, and then I think it was either you or Austin came up with the idea of like using the garage door to like reveal him image for the setup. I thought that was really cool. And then he had like 2 or 3 different song choices, and then I like spent a few hours just trying to transition those perfectly. Surprisingly, I was able to transition a rock song into a rap song, which was kind of interesting. And then I transitioned that song that played for like 10 seconds into a whole different other rap song. And then that played out. And then there was a clip that he really liked because when he was actually lifting, he had his speaker playing music. And I used the raw audio of him like about to do his jump rope. And then as the beat dropped, it was the actual song that was playing at this real time. And then at the end of his jump rope cooldown, I guess, it went back into the real time audio with you can hear the music playing in. And he really liked that. He wanted that to be like the theme for the entirety of the just training portion. But that was like the best song out of all the ones that were played. So I thought that was kind of cool just to have that as one little tactic. But cool. I've never seen anyone do that little thing. I was just kind of messing around, and I feel like that was actually a lot of my editing process. Was me just trying.
I was about to say, like, how much of in the editing process, how, like, obviously you don't have a specific percentage, but how much would you say was there a whole new like stuff in editing like that you kind of learned or that you had to troubleshoot for? Like,
so there was quite a bit. I'd say definitely easily more than half of the editing. So in terms of editing, I think we could talk about the editing portion, then talk about the last little bit of the shoot. So as we were shooting all the film, I was slowly just adding clips into my timeline, so just kind of trimming things up, giving us options. And then once we just started editing, like especially the training portions, because that required the most editing. The biggest thing was working with color grading, because I'm still kind of learning that. Transitions, and then also kind of like beat drops, song selection as well, because Austin had a list of songs. But then I also narrowed those down too. I had to narrow those down on like, we use this one. He was pretty lenient on different songs, which was cool. And then, a lot of that was really new. So like, a lot of the transitions and overlays, I was like looking up and just trying to figure out new things. And then a lot of it was also just kind of messing around, like kind of just manipulating the audio, like certain things I'd have like it like muffled for a little bit, and then I have the beat kind of drop come in, and then I transition from one part of the song to a different part of the song, or one song to a completely different song. It was a lot of learning, but overall a lot of fun, but also a lot of hours went into that editing.
How many hours was that for editing?
I think honestly, I don't know exactly how long. I was trying to track it when I first was going, but then I just was literally just stuck here editing for a while. So probably in the 30s of hours. Ooh. Because once we
over how many days of editing?
I'd say like, okay, so I think just about consistently 2 weeks, but there would be days where I'd only edit for like an hour or two. Gotcha. But the average day was spent like throughout the day, probably like 4.5 hours ish, because
that's a long time just sitting there editing, like click.
I'd work a shift at like 6 a.m., come home, edit for like 2 hours or so, hang out for a little bit, either go to the gym or just kind of spend time here, and then hop back on there, edit for another 2 or 3 hours. But honestly, it wasn't that bad. I always enjoy editing and always have music playing, so I was just kind of listening to like my favorite artist or like new music that was out or whatever. But even though it was a lot of time, and that really, to a lot of people may sound like you would go insane editing for that long, but when you spread it out and you don't really like throw it off to the last minute, it's not that bad.
That's true. I was gonna say it also goes by pretty quick too, like time. Like you sit there, and once you start getting into stuff, you're like, oh wow, it's already been a few hours. So that's cool at least.
Like even yesterday, I just shot a YouTube video doing an updated like what's in my camera bag for this year, and I filmed me talking for like 10-15 minutes, but the editing part, I sat there for like 2.5-3 hours straight just editing. So I'm like, I want to get this done, but I still have to export it, which that's gonna take a while, and then upload it and everything. And I think the reason I'm also so used to just sitting there for long periods of time editing was that before any of this photography stuff, I'd be sitting here playing like video games with friends. So I was like, I've been used to just sitting here for long periods of times doing something, and then throughout the past 2 years of photography, which we could talk about how crazy time's going by and stuff. We were talking about that a little bit earlier, but the past 2 years of doing photography, I've done like hundreds of shoots, and hundreds of hours have been spent there editing, just any different type of brand work, client work, anything for myself. So I'm just used to just sitting there editing, I mean, I think that's just kind of the main thing to take away from that. But overall, great experience editing. We do have plans for more films in the future. Don't really know exactly what that's looking like, but definitely we'll have more coming. But so the one thing we didn't talk about though was the interview portion with Austin.
Oh yeah, So it was the very last thing.
How long did that take? It wasn't actually that bad.
It didn't take too long. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. And it was the most like dialogue part of it out of the whole thing, because everything else was just okay. He's gonna do this, and we're gonna film it. But this, I had what we wanted to talk about, and then me asking the questions and whatnot, and like I was able to ad lib and sort of add questions or change up how I asked a question a little bit. Yeah. And so I think that's really cool too, like getting like his, because then you get his like genuine like answer out of it, and that's when you like really start seeing like someone's passion, like
behind their purpose.
Exactly. And so that was really cool. What wasn't cool was we had one shot left, and it was just like the outro, and all we wanted to do for the outro was, it was really simple. It was just like, well, I think that concludes this interview. Like, thank you very much. And then all he had to do was be like, thank you. And he walks off. For whatever reason, when I said, all right, I think that concludes this interview, this man thought it was the funniest thing ever, and he just died. I'm like, I know I'm funny, thank you, but I'm not that funny. So, and that took like 5 minutes.
And there was like a one-liner.
It was one line.
I think the funniest thing about that was that the parts where he was talking for like 20 minutes on end, those were one takes. Like that was so. I thought that was so impressive.
All that like dialogue really well, and I was impressed.
Everything, like he really, like, you can tell he really like put his time into it before and prepped for it, because I was thinking, all right, this is going to take us like easily 3 or 4 hours to get through everything. But like just about every one of his responses to the questions in the interview was all one take. I think one time he messed up just because he had laughed mid part. Yeah. But then we also realized, okay, wait, we need to talk about this part first, and then transition to that. But of course, the one thing we messed up on was just the little outro.
Yeah.
But
that's funny.
The bloopers are hilarious for that, though. Like, I even put on the blooper when it was like take 4 or 5, I zoomed in on the take to make sure everyone saw how many times we had messed up on that. And then there's so many clips of us just laughing.
And then I was gonna say, the other cool thing that happened from that was we did a mini like little photo shoot, because we had the lights and stuff, and those pictures turned out pretty good. I thought that was cool, that we did all that. And how many hours would you say we spent total, like just filming, not editing?
You know, I think I might have a note in here, but I know it was like filming, I think, was like over 12.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because we met a handful of days to shoot, and we would. So this is before I finished editing. At the time, I had 2 hours of editing. This was like day one. Cardio, that Halloween day, that took 3.5 hours. The weights part was 2.5 hours. The training, this was on the same day as the Halloween one. So I think this was like the footwork part. That was 2 hours. And then the interview portion was 2.5 hours. And then what was interesting, though, was I thought it was like the part that actually was the only stressful part about the interview part was just setting up the shots and the lighting. Yeah, like the actual interview, I thought was really easy. I was gonna say, once we actually filmed it, it was easy. But you're right, the setup was a little hard and a little bit like we want to make sure that this turns out like professional looking. Yeah. Because neither of us had done any of that. Yeah. But it did turn out really well. Mm-hmm. We did a good job.
Yeah, I thought it was it was a little bit stressful because it was weird. We had like that clip-on mic, and we had never used it before.
Dealing with mics is regardless whatever brand of mics are gonna be weird working with, and then add on the fact that you aren't familiar with it. Yep. That doesn't help. But you live and you learn. And you figure it out. And we did figure it out.
Yeah. My only thing was that it would be kind of cool if we had like a proper like backdrop. You know how like in the interviews they have like in the background you'll see like a nice little like living room, for example. I think it'd be kind of interesting if we had that. But then again, we probably would have had to rent out a studio or set up something in our house, but that'd take too much time. But I think just the plain backdrop was good, especially for our first time. Yeah. And I think that's like the main takeaway from this whole thing. And I kept stressing that in like my behind the scenes YouTube video and just on my Instagram was that this was our first time doing a film. So it was like, I'm like, to everyone watching this, cut us some slack. Like, we're learning. Like, this was all, like, everything in this entirety thing was just new to us. Like, we just did with what we knew best, pretty much. Like,
and went with our instincts on a lot of it too, because it's like you can't really be like, oh, we did this wrong, because like you can't really say, oh, you did art wrong. Like the technical stuff, like audio stuff, okay, yeah, you could kind of get us on that. And then like if we, make a cut weird, okay, that kind of makes sense. But in terms of the overall product, you know,
you're learning.
Yeah, it's but it's a good experience. I'm glad we did that for sure, and it made me want to do more filming stuff, and I in terms of filming stuff, I don't have like a specific idea for what I would want to do, but I kind of want to get like I don't know, like, well, one thing I was thinking was because TikTok now, the longest video you could do is like 3 minutes, right? Oh, yeah. So I kind of would want to do like 2 minute and 50-second long short film to have like 10 seconds of quick credit rolls to credit everyone properly. But like, under 3 minute short film that has a clear beginning, middle, and end. But that's still high quality and doesn't feel rushed. Yeah. Or it would also be cool to shoot a longer film, but release it in 2.5 minute episodes. Yeah, that's it. So it's like a TV show on TikTok. That's kind of an idea I had. I don't know how that will happen, if it will exactly how it will happen, but that's something that I would want to try to do.
I think we could definitely get that done, like at some point in this year. I think we just like plan it out, start it, and then just like slowly work on it. Yeah. But then with everything though, I feel like we should really try to like perfect the shots and like the emotions we're trying to convey, just everything. So it's just like definitely not something we want to rush, because I've like the film we didn't really rush, but we definitely wanted to get it out before the end of the year. Yeah. So in a sense, it was kind of like we were on a time crunch. But I think with this, like, we don't have like a given date for any of these next upcoming films. But we got Bugs Bunny on the set right here. But with the film, my one thing I think we can do next time, if we ever do anything similar to that, is just add B-roll sequences into the interview parts, where it's not just like we're just staring at Austin. On like interviews, they'll have different B-roll and whatnot. But we learn from that. So I think we could talk about a few recent shoots. We've both done a few recent shoots. So do you want to talk about the recent one you did with your friend?
Yeah. So this one was with my friend Lydia. And we went to Doco in Sacramento, which is like where Golden One Center is, and where a bunch of cool shops and like little restaurants and stuff are. And we were just kind of walking around there. We took a little bit of pictures and a little bit of video there, and some of the lighting was kind of cool. And then we took electric scooters, like the bird scooters or whatever, and we took them over to Old Town Sac, where they have the Ferris wheel and stuff. And so I got some footage of the Ferris wheel going, and then I was like, well, I feel like it would be cool if we went on it, because there's probably cool views or whatever. And then also the lights are super cool, because they're like changing, and they're really bright, obviously. And it's funny, she actually hadn't been on a Ferris wheel since she was like really little, and it scared the crap out of her. And at first she was like, no, absolutely not. I was like, well, I'm going on this with or without you, because I want to get some cool shots. So she ends up, okay, fine, I'll go. And I ended up getting the best video shots I think that I've gotten so far. And I was able to make a mini TikTok video out of it. It was really cool. I know in the past we've said like, oh yeah, like not having a plan works out really well. And I would say that's still true, but it left me thinking, I wonder what would have happened if I did plan. Yeah, for sure. So it's like you kind of have to find a gauge on how much you plan, what exactly what exactly you plan. And also, I would also think that for photos, for photography, you can sort of wing it a little bit more than videos.
Yeah, for sure.
Because for videos, you kind of want to tell a story that makes sense. And for that, sometimes it takes a bit more thinking, because you have to like have setup footage, like B-roll footage if you need it, and all sorts of different factors. Whereas with photography, you can have a general idea and you can still convey what you're trying to show by, your different angles and stuff. And that kind of stuff you could do a little bit more on the go, I guess, than on when you're trying to do a video.
Oh, sure, yeah. Like that was like, as I mentioned, for like a lot of our shoots that we do together and have you pose, it was just kind of like, all right, let's just go to this location and see like what we can do.
Yeah.
Whereas I do think that is true for video. You kind of want to plan out, because especially if you're trying to convey certain emotions or feels within your video, then you definitely have to plan out locations and timing, lighting, everything.
Right. Exactly.
So overall, yeah, I really liked how that video turned out. I can throw it on the screen for the YouTube audience.
Yes.
And then, did you have any other shoots prior to then, before like, or like I'd say like after that last podcast?
I hadn't. I don't think I had, just because work got really busy for me. But and then also work was busy, and then like during the holidays we had like family over and stuff, and so I would just spent the time chilling, and I was like, man, I should probably film. And then I ended up doing that little thing with Lydia. But yeah, how about you?
So let's see. Last podcast we did was Halloween. So
You've had a handful of them.
okay, so I did a grad shoot for one of Austin's coworkers. That shoot was really good. I really liked how it turned out. We went all around the Sac State campus because she was a student there. Since it was November, the leaves were falling. We did some of her, like throwing leaves, and then we also did some with like a bunch of just like leading lines using like buildings and trees and whatnot. And then the last shot we went for, it was just like on one of the roads, and it was just a 2-lane and it had like the yellow, down the middle, and also had trees along the side. And I really wanted to use that area for like the longest, and especially during fall because of the trees and everything. And I can throw those photos on the screen for the YouTube audience, but really happy with how that shoot turned out. She loved the results. I loved the results. People, and were happy with that. And from there, there were also people that were like messaging me like, "Oh, I want to do like grad photos," and like in May, for example. So I think I have some potential grad shoots planned for then. We'll just see what goes on with there. But after that, most of November, as we mentioned, was shooting the film. December was pretty much editing the film. I did a few shoots here and there just kind of for fun with friends. And then the last few weeks of December were pretty much me working and then just being with family. So I wasn't really doing a whole lot there. But what I did get was a DJI Mini 2. So for the longest, I'd always see David use his drone ever since we first started shooting together. And I'd always talk to him like, oh, I want to get a drone someday. I really got to get a drone. And then I was like around, I think, Black Friday weekend. I think I was just bored at work. And I'm like, let me just see how the drone prices are looking. And the DJI Mini 2 was a lot cheaper than when it had looked like about like a year ago or so. And I was like, okay, I'm going to get it. Like, I've been working like about 30-hour weeks instead of my part-time. I'm like, I'm getting decent pay. I might as well just buy it because I knew I'm going to use it. And I have been using it. It's been a lot of fun. So I've got it like beginning of December. So it's been a little over a month. Did a few flies with it, mainly videography stuff. Just kind of the past few shoots have just been me trying to learn like all the different types of shots I can do and movements and whatnot. And I say some of the most recent stuff I did was that the main hill that we would go to that was like not the hidden one, but like the one that's like everyone goes to.
Yeah.
So I went there with my brother Austin, and then I flew it during kind of like golden hour, and then just kind of was practicing certain movements and stuff.
Does the Mini 2 have it has all those features, right, where the where you could select it to like follow you and all that stuff? Yeah,
I was messing around with that a little bit, but with that I was just as I mentioned, just trying to learn the movements and stuff. What I think we should really do is just try to like either like day trip or something, just go to like a nice scenic area and then fly our drones and work on just getting different.
I was gonna say, I feel like an Auburn, like the Auburn area, might look cool, or just up the hill a little bit. Would look really cool.
I'm looking forward to doing more stuff with the drone. Glad I got that. Besides that, I did a shoot with my friend Fonzo, who we went to high school with, and he just picked up his real estate license. Shout out to Fonzo. I don't know if you would watch this or whatnot, but he was looking for a shoot, and we've been talking about this for like the course of a month. It's just none of our schedules seem to fit. And then like a little over a week ago, we planned that out. Went to a local outdoor shopping market. Saw it. It was so like stressful because the day leading up to it, like on the day of, it was just raining, and we were like, oh no. So we were like, okay, are we gonna have to reschedule? We're gonna have to find like an indoor place, and we're like, oh, what are we gonna do? And then the hour like before the shoot, because I think we got out there at like 3 or 4 p.m. It stopped raining, and I got there like 10 minutes early, and it started raining again, and then it's like sprinkled, and then it stopped. It was like on and off rain, and I was like, oh no. And I'm just texting him updates and stuff, and then he eventually got there, and then luckily the rain stopped, so we were getting the clear for that. But the sun was setting in like 45 minutes, so this shoot was very like rushed. Like we were like speed walking around. I'm like, okay, let's go here, get photos here. You pose there, sit there, kind of thing. He changed like into a jacket at one point, went around, did a few more stuff, but that shoot was really good. I'm really happy with how it turned out. He loved the results. I really want to do more like portrait shoots though. I mean, obviously I'm always doing portraits, but I really like that area though, the Palladio shopping center, because all the main shoots that I've done, like as you've been a part of, and really usually in like the garage and stuff. Whereas we went more into like in front of stores, and we did some, which was kind of interesting, in front of the actual movie theater, like the backdrop of like their, I guess not really red carpet, but like the ground was like a red carpet.
I would say it looks pretty like regal, like it looks pretty fancy schmancy. No, but it looks nice, and it brings up the picture quality too.
The backdrop had like the red lights on the background. That's also something I've been meaning to talk about this for a while. I really want to find like, you know, like vintage restaurants and stuff that have like the neon signs and stuff. I think those I always see photographers use those for like backdrops for portraits and stuff. So I think we got to find some of those too and just mess with those.
I was gonna say there's a few places downtown and / midtown Sacramento that like restaurants and stuff that have that sort of like neon sign stuff. I think the Punch Bowl is one of the places that has like a cool like neon looking sign type thing. But yes, pictures, I think having like that, the neon glow of lights and stuff in the background of pictures makes them look really cool.
I think we could use that if we get that whole event set up with the photographers and the models. I think that would be really cool if we can try that out. But let's see, besides that shoot, haven't done a whole lot. I've mainly just been shooting YouTube videos, like as I mentioned before, the camera bag one. And I did a little bit of like a promotional thing of like some editing software for YouTube.
How's the TikTok doing?
Good. So I've been kind of like, I talked to a friend about this. I was trying to learn, like, not really learn, but just try different methods of like putting myself out there and content out there, because for the longest I got my name out there because of those photo edits, but I don't really care to do those as much anymore, and rather just showcase my photography, videography, and drone stuff. So it's like kind of implementing that, but like in a sense kind of adding trends into it. It's just some things work out, some things don't, but I'm just kind of in a phase where I'm just kind of just putting stuff out there just to kind of see how it performs. And if I find a new style that works out really well, then, you know, I'll stick with that. Obviously still posting consistently on there. I think what we can do is kind of reflect on 2021 as a whole in terms of shoots that we've done, I guess pros and cons and things like that.
So I was gonna say, before we even start reflecting, what we were talking about earlier was, it doesn't even feel like in my mind, 2020 and 2021 were all 2020. Like it all blended in. It did not feel like 2020 and 2021 were 2 years. That definitely felt like 1 year. It's weird, and a lot of it obviously was the pandemic. That had a big role in it, and so that kind of just messes with my head. So I'm like, wait, what? It's 2022? Like, that's crazy. But yes, now going into reflecting 2021, one of those first shoots that we did was with Nick.
Yeah. So it was for him to use for socials and whatnot. And I think he used some of the photos for like singles for like songs.
Yeah.
And then that same day we were just kind of like, all right, let's just try to find new locations. We went to like it was like a frisbee golf park, and then we were just walking around.
Yeah, there's like a little like nature trail, and then there was that frisbee golf course at the very beginning, and then
we just found, I don't know how we even really came across that. We found this hill.
Yeah.
And it was completely empty. But of course, the reason or the way we went up was just to hike it.
Yeah, because we were like, oh well, there's a cool hill. There was no houses around it or anything. Nothing. Yeah. So then we ended up walking it, and of course, this being our first time, we didn't have any idea of how steep it was, and rest assured, we found the steepest part of it because we ended up walking up the steepest part of it. We learned quickly from that though, because the next times that we would go, which was a lot, we ended up taking the not steep ways, which is good. But anyways, that first time we went there, it's taking us a while. We're like, man, we're gonna miss the sunset. Like this is gonna suck. Yeah, we legitimately contemplated like, let's not go up this. It's not worth it. And we were like, no, let's push through. Let's push through. So we get up to the top. Boom. It's really cool. It opens up and you can see all Folsom. You're looking towards Sacramento. So you see like the Sac Valley and all that. And on top of that, the sun it's golden hour and whatnot, and so the sun's coming down just perfectly. And so then we got some really cool pictures from that. And that sort of, I think, cemented, like, this is a really cool spot. Like, let's come back here. And so that set up at least the first, 6 months of the year for, pretty much a lot of the stuff that we were going to do.
Yeah, and I think we got a lot of our best work from that spot, honestly. Like, that first time we went up there, I was taking photos of you just kind of wandering around. We were because we were both in awe. When we made it to the top, it was huge. It was like
it was there's a lot more space than I thought there was. It was a little trip.
Oh yeah, no, I thought it was so cool. Like the view, like the other spot we went to prior, everyone pretty much knows about it in this area. It was trashed, like junk everywhere, random furniture and stuff. Like this was completely empty. No one really been there. Got a lot of golden hour shots, some silhouettes and stuff. And then we were like, okay, next time we come here, we're gonna do star photography. So that's the next shoot we did. I think that was I don't know, about a month later.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was probably about a month.
And then we hiked up there.
I brought my lightsaber. Yeah. Well, because I bought a lightsaber. I ordered it online at the end of at the very beginning of January, and then it came, and so then I brought it, and this was the rage of not rage. What's the word? The rave of lightsabers online and stuff is NeoPixel. Everyone's like, oh, they're more expensive, but it's worth it because they're that much more bright. They look sick. The quality's really good. And so that's the kind of lightsaber I got. I got a NeoPixel lightsaber from, shout out, and I will give them a shout out because they're great, Padawan Outpost. Go to PadawanOutpost.com. They're based in the UK, and from my understanding, if you're in the UK, they ship to you really, really fast, crazy fast. And living in the US, I was like, okay, so this might take longer. They shipped it out really quick. It got to me really quick, so that was really good. And then also, I bought another lightsaber a year later, a different one, and they when I got it, it wasn't working, and so I was like, oh man, I hope they could, help me out. And so I sent them an email, and I showed them a picture and video and whatnot, and they were really nice. They had me send it back to them. They fixed it up, and when they did, they actually sent me a video hey, David, we just fixed this, here it is working. So I was really impressed with that. So I'm going on a rant about how, but Padawan Outpost, they're really good. Check them out if you want a cool lightsaber, or maybe you want a cool little, it doubles as a lightsaber, but also lighting for photography / videography stuff. But anyways, back to us going the second time to the hill. We bring my lightsaber up it.
Flash. It's just everything because we went out like kind of late. It was like what, like 8-9 p.m. or something. Pitch black. We went up there, set up, and we were just like, okay, we just needed to be like the sun was like fully set. And then the one thing we kind of failed to realize was that, I mean, this was our first time doing star photography, but we needed to be in a complete pitch black area. Like there was still city in the area, so
definitely light pollution.
Yeah, so when I set it up for like a 30-second exposure, it would pick up like a lot of just random lights from the city within the area. So like, okay, wait, this isn't gonna work out. And then we kind of got like a few decent ones that worked out, which they're actually on this wall over here, I think. Oh, yeah, up at the top. So I had you pose there. That one I think might have been one of the better ones. Which is kind of impressive. You stood still for like 30 seconds.
It was so hard to stay still for that long, like especially holding something, because I was holding the lightsaber.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, it's not like the heaviest thing, but holding anything in your hand can be a little bit tough. But those turned out really good.
Especially for first time.
Yeah, I was really impressed with those because honestly, at first I was like, oh, I don't know how this is gonna turn out. Like, this will be interesting, but they turned out really good.
I just remember that was just a fun night, and it was just like, because you were so far away, and I'm just yelling at you, all right, 3, 2, 1, keep it still, and then you're like, all right, I'm like, keep it going, and I'm like, all right, we're good, and then you're like, is that good? I'm like, all right, let's take a few more, and then the way back down, I remember I think we saw a rabbit run by, and then I, for some reason, led the way down and kind of got us in the wrong area. But
yeah, this man got us. I was like, this part of the hill does not look like the way we went up. And so I'm on Google Maps. I'm like, you were taking us towards the highway, bro, not towards the road where I parked.
If it was just me out there, I definitely would have gotten lost.
I'm glad you used the buddy system. That would have been bad. So.
Yeah, but then after that, I think, the next shoot was also there as well. And then we did like multiple shoots that day. So we went to like this hill, and I think El Dorado Hills area, and you were just flying your drone. And then remember we found like a football game, and we were watching from your drone.
Yeah. So I think it was Oakmont High School.
Not too sure of the school, but
was it not Oakmont? Oakdale? I don't know. It was one of the high schools out there in the hills.
Like a Friday afternoon.
Yeah. And I'm flying my drone, and I'm like, oh, hey, look, that looks like football stadium lights. And then I go over to it, I'm like, hey, it's a football game. That's sick.
We're like watching a few plays. Like, all right, let's fly it back. And then from there, we went up to that hill we were just talking about, like during golden hour, and you had like, what was the hat? The type of hat?
Oh yeah, it's I wouldn't say it's like a cowboy hat, but it's definitely like a Western like style hat, but just like a flat, wide brim, from a company called Lack of Color. They're really nice hats. But we did a shoot when I was wearing the hat. And we got some cool like Western looking pictures.
An hour light mixed with your outfit was really nice. And then I made the edits super like warm and stuff. And then the silhouette shots where you're kind of like looking out at the sun. You have like your hands on the hat. I really like those ones.
Because the hat, it's like so big, and the hat in a silhouette looks like really cool. Oh yeah. So that was cool how those turned out as well.
I tagged the brand for the hat, and they seemed to like them too. I was like, that's cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
And then let's see. After that, the few shoots that we did after that, I think was mainly just for like my brand Explorer that I used to have. Yeah. And then we went to Monterey. That was fun.
That was a lot of fun.
Sandboarding. I got extremely sunburned.
Oh, that's right. Right.
I think I have any photos of that because my phone got wiped in like July. But I was really red. It was pretty bad. I was just kind of hiding in my house for a few weeks because
that was a fun day,
my entire body hurt. Your twin John joined us out there for a little bit.
He took the wrong way. I'm guarantee you he'll say he didn't, but pretty sure he did because it took him like twice as long. And then I think there was traffic too, but yeah. That was a lot of fun.
Met up with your other brother as well.
You met our older brother Daniel, which was cool. He used to be a Monterey local. Now he is in Chicago. But Yeah, that was a lot of fun and also very different too from what we normally do. Exactly.
We got a plan for more just like quick little day trips.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say Santa Cruz would be, I feel like, really cool too, and it's also closer than Monterey too.
For sure.
Santa Cruz would be cool because they also have the boardwalk. So like come summertime, the boardwalk would be cool, and also I feel like that's a lot of good opportunities to do on the go photo shoots because there's a lot of people, and a lot of people that are trying to look cool, look good. Yeah. So that would be kind of a fun thing to do if we both bring our camera stuff, and to video there too would be cool and whatnot. So it'd be fun.
So yeah, most of that day trip we were spent sandboarding, and then we got the wax for the board, and then that made the board go really fast.
Yeah, that board goes fast.
I really like that vlog. I watch that every once in a while. It's just a lot of funny moments and just enjoying the time there. Then there's like us on the beach throwing the frisbee and whatnot. Then fast forward, let's see. Then we did like another explore shoot in the summer, and then that's when we came up with the idea, let's do the podcast. And then you ended up getting a camera, and then that was really cool. And then after that, we did the product shoot for Beloved Serenity. Yeah. Shout out to them. And then let's see. So we did that shoot.
And in between that and I don't know what the next one was, but then I was working out of town, so I was really busy.
So we were barely doing like any free time we had. We were just doing podcast episodes.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was when we were cranking them out.
Oh yeah, like I think like every other week or so.
Pretty much, yeah. We were doing pretty good.
And then let's see. Beginning of October, we did 2 separate Halloween shoots. We did the one, Speculo, the short film.
That was a fun one. That was cool.
That little short film was all just like last minute.
It was. It was super last minute.
The photos turned out really cool. The poses you did with the character, I feel like portrayed like this creepiness. Yeah, for sure. And then like a week later, we did the one in like that little trenches area. That spot was really like
that was sketchy. Yeah.
I don't know if I'd go back to that, but it made for cool photos. So I guess that's what counts.
Exactly.
And let's see. Then the rest of the year, all of the shoots were just for the film.
Yeah.
But I feel like the year, I don't know, for me at least, I feel like the entirety of the year felt like maybe like a few months. Like it went by super quick.
It zoomed by. I was gonna say. With that being said, that was a good recap of 2021. What is in store for 2022?
Oh, let's see. I think so for us. Obviously, continue the podcast whenever we get the chance. But I don't think we really know how often we'll be able to make episodes.
I was gonna say, because
very inconsistent. So when you see an episode, just check it out.
We'll try to update.
I'll be shooting my YouTube videos and stuff. Of course, whenever we link, I'll either be doing a video or just photo shoots or whatever, product shoots, whatever the case may be. What I've been trying to do is work with more people locally, whether that's models, photographers, videographers, content creators. So we're kind of planning out something. It's not really set yet, but we're trying to work with a few local photographers and models and just spend a day just shooting, portraits and videos and anything, honestly. I think that'd be kind of cool to just work with local people.
And it's also just a way of networking too, sure. Like building those connections, and the more connections you have, the better. So
then I don't think I've talked to you about this. I've talked with a few people about doing little short films. Like there's one, a football player that's in high school who's getting looked at by some pretty big schools. Working on that, trying to figure that out. High school? He goes to Vista, and he's getting looked at by,
Vista Del Lago.
Quarterback. I think he's like a junior. Yeah.
I'd want to help film that, dude. I'll film on my camera. I don't care.
I think we could film a cool training sequence and whatnot. And then Austin wants to do more short films. I don't know if he's talked about that. He had some pretty cool ideas, and I'm already liking those as well. Obviously, then just more trying to work with more brands. Like I just did for TikTok, I did a few promotional things for some photo editing apps, and then I did a YouTube video covering an editing app for the computer. Became an ambassador for Cam Skins, which is if you ever see my camera, it has a little wrap on it. With that though, just trying to work with more people. I have a few grad shoots planned out for the next 4 to 5 months, just kind of spread out. My main thing this year is just trying to like work with people locally, honestly. Like just trying to find, people that are graduating, people that are models, photographers, content creators, literally just anyone that like is interested in like working with me. I want to work with them because it's like I think I spent a lot of time trying to get my name out there online, whereas I got to get it locally too. And I think with doing both, that could help a lot in terms of just growing my brand. But with that, what about you in terms of you mentioned a few things.
I want to work on video stuff more. I do like photography, but I feel like my strong suit is video stuff. And yeah, I want to try to do some like mini short film stuff. I want to try to get like, I don't know, like that TikTok idea I had, whether it's like a under 3 minute short film or like 2.5 minute episodes, like all on TikTok. I think that would be kind of fun. And then it would be cool to have like a big old cast of people for a short film, but obviously with scheduling and stuff,
that's definitely a lot.
That's way harder. And also because if I were to do like a really like high quality production, like really good film, I would want to try to pay these people because they're spending good time. Time is money. So that's another thing that I'd be weighing in. But I also just think like trying to do like challenge myself with short films too, like do a short film with no dialogue, no one can talk. Do a short film with only one person. Do a short film with 2 people, 3 people, that sort of thing. So just to kind of push my limits and to see what I can do and to see what I can't do and what I need to work on. So yeah,
for sure. I got a few questions though. How do you think in terms of our work? How do you think 2021 was better than 2020? Or I feel like I just
think we just got better.
Yeah,
better.
I think also, what was your favorite shoot that we did or anything that we did from 2021?
I really like that lightsaber shoot.
Oh yeah.
The lightsaber one was really cool. Just because that was like my first like outing with it too, so I was like, I was all excited and stuff. But also those turned out really sick.
Oh, yeah.
So that was really cool. And I just finding that hill that we did those photo shoots on was really cool too. So I would say anything that we did there was cool. It was fun. It's also like a little adventure too. And then the Monterey trip was fun too. That was really good.
Yeah. I think what was cool about the lightsaber one was that even though we've done multiple shoots in 2020 with the lightsaber, this lightsaber was like so bright and just also the new location compared to what we did before. I feel like it just offered more variety.
Yeah.
And like since it was also so bright, like the photos turned out really cool. Where you were holding it and your face is just blue. Or like the silhouette ones where the lightsabers glowing,
the silhouettes that it created were pretty crazy.
That's so tough though for what shoot is my favorite because I did so many. I think some of the top ones were definitely that one. I think was that on the same day that we did like the country style one? I think that was.
Was it?
It may have been. If not, then if those were separate days,
I think we went that many separate times.
Okay.
Because we went to that one spot like probably like 6 times.
But those are definitely some of my top favorite shoots. And then besides that, I really like the grad photos, like all the grad shoots I did for Austin, his coworkers, the one I did in November, the one I did for Vincent, who graduated from our high school in May. Besides that,
the Miata one was kind of cool too. That one was fun.
It really like portrayed like just like summer.
Yeah.
And like the light trail ones we did with the cars.
We did that one in the spring, right?
May is so technically like end of spring-ish. And then I think all of the explore shoots were fun. And then we did the product shoot in September. I think that one was pretty cool. And then just a few of the client ones that I did for like Cali. Shout out to Cali. And then yeah, the grad photos like the other client ones. But I think besides that, overall really good year in terms of what we've both done. I think for me, when I look back at 2020, like I remember beginning of 2021, I'm like, wow, I did really good in 2020. How am I going to top that? And then I look at 2021.
We did better.
I'm like, wow, these are like really good. So this year, let's see what we can do, kind of thing. But definitely, I think I also kind of want to dive into more videography stuff, like alongside with you, because I think it's fun. Like,
it is fun. And I didn't mention it because like I guess I'm still on that like I'm on the high of let's do video stuff.
Yeah.
But part of the reason why I hadn't done a lot of video stuff, it takes a lot of time to edit.
Oh yeah.
Editing, and we mentioned it specifically for the short film, but I didn't mention it for other short films that we were gonna do. Editing is a long process, especially when you're trying, like, man, you want it to be perfect.
Yep.
So every little millisecond, you're like, it has to look great.
Even the time, even when I'm not editing, and like for that short film that we did, you know how much time I was on my phone just listening to music specifically for the film. Like I wasn't even listening to music just in terms of just enjoyment. I was like, all right, let's see if would this song work for the film. And in my head, I'm thinking like, would this work for the basketball one? Would this work for the weights portion? Like, or even when I was at work, I'm on my phone thinking of like different things. I'm like looking at like behind the scenes stuff, just thinking about constantly about that. But I guess it just kind of shows how like passionate I was about that project.
Dedication.
People really liked it. I don't think I told you, but I had a few like not local, just like photographers and videographers that had followed me. They were like, "Oh, I really like the film." And they were like, "Oh, for like first film, this is pretty good and stuff." So that was like a good feeling to see.
That's good, yeah.
I mean, I'm excited to see what this year offers. Thanks for tuning into this episode. We don't know.
Thank you.
We're gonna be posting. So
Thank you. Good night.
if you see an episode, we'll keep you updated like when one's about to drop, so you have a little bit of notice. But
we're gonna be dropping an episode every day for the next 100 days.
yeah, okay. I'm gonna just have to drop out of school for that time. So see you guys later. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, subscribe to the YouTube. Follow David.
They probably forgot. Yeah, I was gonna say it's been that long. Y'all probably forgot our socials. My regular one is David.not.John. And then my photography one is pic, P-I-C, _ Davy, D-A-V-Y.
And then TikTok.
Oh, my TikTok is at the real David Pearson, Pearson.
You just gotta let everyone know that you're the real one if there's any imposters.
Yeah, exactly.
And then for me, it's at Eric's Photos, so ERICSPHOTOZ on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube because I've been uploading like once a week, kinda. But yeah, thanks for stopping by, listening, watching, whatever. Follow the podcast, subscribe, whatever it is on whatever platform you're on. But yeah, see you guys in the next one.
Thank you.